I, Gaius Aurelius Valerius Diocletianus, known to many as Diocletian, was born in the year 245 in the modest town of Salonae in Dalmatia, an area that is known today as Salonae, Croatia. My birth name was Diocles, a name I would carry through the early years of my life until destiny called me to a higher purpose. My early years were spent in a humble yet nurturing environment. My family, though not of noble birth, was respectable and instilled in me the virtues of discipline, perseverance, and loyalty. My father, a scribe for local magistrates, ensured that I understood the importance of knowledge and learning from an early age. Education was a major facet of my upbringing, spending hours each day with tutors in our family domus. These sessions were rigorous, covering the classics of Roman literature, the intricacies of Latin grammar, and the strategic complexities of history's great battles. My mother, a woman of great piety and strength, managed our household with an efficiency that would later inspire my own administrative reforms. Salonae, though not a grand metropolis, was a town of considerable activity. Merchants and travelers from across the empire would pass through, bringing with them stories of distant lands and the latest news from Rome. These tales ignited a burning curiosity within me. I would often find myself at the docks, listening intently to sailors' accounts of their voyages, dreaming of the day when I, too, would see the far reaches of the empire. The atmosphere of Salonae was one of both rustic simplicity and burgeoning ambition. The town's Roman heritage was evident in its architecture and public life, yet it maintained a certain provincial charm. It was here, amid the rolling hills and the Adriatic Sea's azure waves, that I honed my skills and prepared for a future far beyond the horizon of my birthplace. From a young age, it was clear that the martial path was my calling. My physical training began early, under the tutelage of a veteran soldier who had served in the legions. This rigorous discipline built my endurance and strength, qualities that would serve me well in the years to come. By the time I reached adolescence, I was already adept with the sword and shield, a budding tactician in the making. As I grew older, my desire to serve Rome intensified. I enlisted in the military, where my background and abilities quickly set me apart. My ascent through the ranks was swift, fueled by a combination of strategic acumen and unwavering determination. It was during these formative years that I first encountered the pervasive chaos threatening the empire. The once great dominion of Rome was beset by internal strife and external threats, a shadow of its former glory. It became clear to me that Rome needed strong, decisive leadership to restore its might. Even as a young officer, I was acutely aware of the empire's structural weaknesses. The lessons learned during my early education and the discipline instilled in me by my family and mentors became the bedrock of my resolve. I observed the inefficiencies and corruption that plagued our administration, vowing to one day implement reforms that would revitalize the empire. My journey from Diocles of Dalmatia to Diocletian, Emperor of Rome, was a path fraught with challenges and revelations. The seeds of my future reign were sown in the fertile soil of Salonae, nurtured by the values imparted by my parents and tempered by the fires of military service. It was this foundation that prepared me for the monumental task of steering the Roman Empire through one of its most turbulent periods. As I reflect on those early years, I see the clear trajectory that led me to the throne. The combination of a rigorous education, military discipline, and an innate understanding of the administrative shortcomings of my time were the crucibles in which my leadership was forged. The young boy from Salonae could scarcely have imagined the destiny that awaited him. Yet each step along the way was a necessary preparation for the role I would ultimately assume. The stage was set for my ascension, a journey that would not only define my life, but also leave an indelible mark on the history of Rome. The tale of my rise to power and the reforms that would follow are a testament to the enduring spirit of the empire and the relentless pursuit of a vision that sought to restore its former glory. The year was 284 CE, and the Roman Empire was in turmoil. The once mighty empire was crumbling under the weight of political corruption, economic instability, and constant threats from barbarian invasions. It was in this chaotic backdrop that fate intervened, propelling me from the ranks of a soldier to the heights of imperial power. My military career had been marked by rapid advancement. My strategic mind and unwavering discipline did not go unnoticed by my superiors. I earned commendations for my leadership in various campaigns, and my reputation as a competent and reliable officer spread quickly. By the time I was appointed commander of the elite cavalry unit, the Protectores Domestici, I had already earned the respect and loyalty of many within the army. In 283 CE, Emperor Carus and his sons, Carinus and Numerian, were ruling the empire. However, their reign was short-lived. Carus died under mysterious circumstances during a campaign against the Persians, leaving his sons to co-rule the empire. Numerian's subsequent death in 284 CE, under equally suspicious circumstances, created a power vacuum that needed to be filled. It was during this critical juncture that I made my decisive move. The army was stationed near Nicomedia when the news of Numerian's death broke. The soldiers, disillusioned by the recent events and desperate for stable leadership, looked to me. I vividly remember the day they proclaimed me emperor. Standing before the assembled troops, their voices rising in unison, I felt the weight of the empire shift onto my shoulders. Accepting their acclamation, I took the name Gaius Aurelius Valerius Diocletianus, marking the beginning of a new era for Rome. However, my ascension was not uncontested. Carinus, the surviving son of Carus, was still a formidable rival. Our forces clashed at the Battle of the Margus River in 285 CE. It was a fierce and decisive confrontation. Carinus was a capable commander, but his reign had been marred by accusations of cruelty and debauchery, leading to waning support among his own troops. During the battle, his officers defected, and Carinus was slain. With his death, I emerged as the sole ruler of the Roman Empire. As emperor, my initial focus was on consolidating power and stabilizing the empire. I was acutely aware that the old systems were no longer sufficient to address the myriad challenges facing Rome. The Senate, once the heart of Roman political life, had become largely symbolic, its influence diminished. The real power lay with the military, and I intended to harness it effectively. I quickly realized that the traditional single emperor system was inadequate for governing the vast and diverse Roman Empire. To address this, I devised a radical solution: the Tetrarchy. In 293 CE, I appointed Maximian as my co-emperor, giving him control over the western provinces while I retained the eastern regions. Additionally, I appointed two Caesars, Galerius and Constantius Chlorus, to assist us. This division of power was designed to ensure efficient governance and rapid response to external threats. The Tetrarchy was more than a mere political arrangement. It was a vision for a more robust and resilient empire. Each ruler was assigned specific territories to manage, allowing for localized decision-making while maintaining a unified imperial structure. This system also provided a clear line of succession, reducing the likelihood of civil wars and power struggles that had previously plagued the empire. Implementing the Tetrarchy required significant administrative and military reforms. I restructured the empire's finances, introducing new taxation systems to ensure a steady revenue stream. The currency was stabilized, and efforts were made to curb inflation. On the military front, I reorganized the legions, creating mobile field units that could respond swiftly to threats. My reign also saw the construction of numerous fortifications along the empire's borders, particularly the Danube and the Rhine. These fortifications were not only defensive structures, but also symbols of the renewed strength and vigilance of Rome. As I solidified my rule, I turned my attention to reinforcing the empire's moral and social fabric. I issued numerous edicts aimed at promoting public morality, regulating economic activities, and ensuring the proper conduct of officials. The revitalization of the legal system was another cornerstone of my administration. By codifying and standardizing laws across the empire, I sought to create a more just and orderly society. In these early years of my reign, the challenges were immense, but so too was the potential for renewal. The Tetrarchy, though a bold experiment, represented my commitment to restoring the glory and stability of Rome. Through strategic reforms and decisive leadership, I laid the foundation for an era that would see the empire rise from the brink of collapse to a period of renewed strength and unity. The seeds of change had been sown, and the Roman Empire was on a path toward recovery. As emperor, I was determined to see this vision through, ensuring that the legacy of Rome would endure for generations to come. The journey ahead would be arduous, but with the strength and support of my fellow rulers and the unwavering spirit of the Roman people, I was confident that we could overcome any obstacle and restore the empire to its former greatness. As the sole ruler of the Roman Empire, I embraced my mission with unwavering determination and an unyielding vision for restoration and reform. My reign, from 284 to 305, was a period of profound transformation, where I sought to revitalize the empire's administrative, military, and economic structures. However, it was also a time marked by severe persecution and repression, actions which, in reflection, I have come to deeply regret. The Tetrarchy system I established was the cornerstone of my administrative reforms, dividing the empire into 4 distinct regions, each governed by an emperor or Caesar, allowed for more efficient and localized management. This decentralization was essential for addressing the vast and diverse needs of the empire. Maximian, Galerius, and Constantius Chlorus, my chosen co-rulers, were capable leaders who helped stabilize and protect our territories from external threats and internal dissent. One of my earliest and most significant reforms was the overhaul of the imperial tax system. The old methods of taxation were chaotic and inefficient, leading to widespread evasion and corruption. I introduced a new land tax, the jugatio capitatio system, which assessed taxes based on land productivity and the number of inhabitants. This reform ensured a more predictable and equitable revenue stream, vital for funding the empire's military and public works. The military was another focus of my reign. The legions were restructured to create a more agile and responsive force. Mobile field units, known as comitatenses, were established to complement the stationary border troops, the limitani. This dual system allowed us to better defend the empire's extensive frontiers while retaining the ability to respond swiftly to crises. The economy, too, demanded attention. Inflation had eroded the value of our currency, and economic stability was paramount. I introduced the Edict on Maximum Prices in 301 CE, an attempt to curb rampant inflation by setting maximum prices for goods and services. While well-intentioned, this edict proved difficult to enforce and often led to black market activities. Nevertheless, it reflected my commitment to stabilizing the economy and protecting the citizens from exploitation. In the realm of public works, I oversaw the construction and renovation of numerous infrastructure projects. Roads, bridges, and fortifications were built or restored, enhancing communication and defense across the empire. One of my most ambitious projects was the construction of Diocletian's palace in Split, a monumental testament to the architectural and engineering prowess of Rome. Yet, amid these achievements, there remains a dark chapter of my reign that I must confront: the persecution of Christians. Influenced by my co-ruler Galerius and driven by a desire for religious uniformity, I initiated a series of edicts in 303 aimed at eradicating Christianity. Churches were destroyed, scriptures burned, and countless Christians faced imprisonment, torture, and execution. These actions were rooted in fear and a misguided belief that a unified religious front was necessary for the empire's stability. As I reflect on this period, I am filled with remorse. The persecution of Christians was a grave error, one that caused immense suffering and failed to achieve its intended goals. The resilience and steadfast faith of the Christian community only grew stronger in the face of adversity. In hindsight, I recognize that religious diversity could have been embraced rather than suppressed, fostering a more inclusive and harmonious society. I now understand that the separation of church and state is crucial for ensuring true religious freedom and preventing the abuse of power. The state should govern through laws and policies that promote the common good, while allowing individuals the freedom to practice their faith without fear of persecution. This principle of separation could have provided a more stable and just foundation for the empire. As my reign progressed, it became increasingly clear that my health was deteriorating. The pressures of ruling an empire and the personal toll of my actions weighed heavily upon me. In 305 CE, I made the unprecedented decision to abdicate the throne, retiring to my palace in Split. It was a moment of both relief and reflection, a chance to step back from the burdens of power and contemplate the legacy I would leave behind. My abdication marked the end of an era, but it also paved the way for a new generation of leaders to continue the work of preserving and strengthening the empire. I spent my remaining years in quiet contemplation, tending to my gardens and reflecting on the triumphs and failures of my reign. The legacy of my rule is a complex tapestry of reform and regret. The administrative and military structures I established provided a foundation for future stability, yet the persecution of Christians remains a stain on my record. In acknowledging my mistakes, I hope to impart a lesson for future generations that true strength lies in unity and tolerance, and that the just and compassionate exercise of power is the hallmark of a great leader. After my abdication in 305 CE, I withdrew from the public eye, seeking solace and tranquility in the palace I had built in Split, Dalmatia. This monumental structure, a blend of military fortress and luxurious villa, stood as a testament to my reign and a sanctuary where I could reflect on the turbulent years of my rule. Life in retirement was markedly different from the rigors of imperial governance. The daily responsibilities of managing an empire were replaced by a more serene routine. I spent my days walking through the expansive gardens, which were meticulously maintained and filled with a diverse array of flora. The Adriatic Sea's gentle waves provided a soothing backdrop, and the natural beauty of the region offered a stark contrast to the chaos and conflict that had characterized much of my reign. In these quiet moments, I often contemplated the decisions I had made, both good and bad. The administrative and military reforms were sources of pride, yet the persecution of Christians haunted me. I corresponded with scholars and philosophers, engaging in deep discussions about governance, justice, and morality. These dialogues helped me come to terms with my past actions and reinforced my belief in the importance of separating church and state. The years in Split were not entirely without turmoil. The political landscape of the Roman Empire remained volatile, with rival factions vying for power. The Tetrarchy, my grand design for stable governance, began to falter as personal ambitions and conflicts arose among my successors. Despite my distance from the capital, I remained acutely aware of these developments and offered counsel when sought. As the years passed, my health continued to decline. The physical toll of years spent on military campaigns and the stresses of ruling an empire had left their mark. By the time I reached my 70th year, my body was frail, and simple tasks became increasingly arduous. Despite these challenges, I found solace in the peaceful rhythms of life in Split. In 316 CE, at the age of 71, I knew my time was drawing to a close. The end came quietly, surrounded by the loyal servants and friends who had accompanied me in my retirement. My death marked the end of an era, a final departure from the stage of Roman history. In my final days, I took comfort in the thought that I had done all I could to stabilize and strengthen the empire. While not all my decisions had been just, my intent had always been to serve the greater good of Rome. The reforms I had implemented laid the groundwork for future stability, even as my mistakes served as cautionary tales for those who would follow. After my passing, my body was interred in a mausoleum within the palace complex. This resting place, surrounded by the beauty of Dalmatia, became a symbol of my life's journey, from the humble beginnings in Salonae to the pinnacle of imperial power, and finally to the peaceful end in Split. My mausoleum would stand for centuries, a testament to my reign and a reminder of the complexities of leadership. The news of my death reverberated throughout the empire. While some viewed me as a tyrant, others recognized the profound impact of my reforms. The legacy I left behind was a mixture of admiration and controversy, a reflection of the multifaceted nature of my rule. As I reflect from beyond this mortal coil, I hope that history will remember me not only for the administrative and military achievements, but also for my eventual realization of the need for tolerance and separation of powers. The future of the Roman Empire, and indeed any great civilization, lies in the ability to learn from the past, to embrace diversity, and to govern with wisdom and compassion. The sun set on my life, but the empire continued, shaped by the foundations I had laid and the lessons I had imparted. My story is but one chapter in the grand narrative of Rome, a testament to the enduring spirit and resilience of an empire that, despite its flaws, aspired to greatness. As the echoes of my reign faded into the annals of history, the legacy of my time as emperor began to take shape. My efforts to stabilize the Roman Empire through reforms and the establishment of the Tetrarchy had lasting impacts, but so too did my later reflections on governance, freedom, and the role of religion in the state. My story, like that of Rome itself, is a tapestry of triumphs and trials, with lessons that resonate through the ages. The administrative and military reforms I implemented were perhaps my most enduring contributions. By restructuring the empire's taxation system, creating a more mobile and effective military, and introducing measures to stabilize the economy, I laid the groundwork for a more resilient state. These reforms not only addressed the immediate crises, but also provided a framework that would influence governance for centuries. The division of the empire into more manageable regions under the Tetrarchy, while not lasting beyond my immediate successors, inspired future leaders to consider decentralized and more flexible forms of governance. The persecution of Christians, driven by a misguided attempt to enforce religious uniformity, stands as a grave error. Reflecting on this, I have come to understand that the true strength of an empire or nation lies not in the suppression of diversity, but in its embrace. Religious persecution undermines the moral fabric of society and fuels dissent and resistance rather than unity. In recognizing this, I now see the fundamental importance of separating church and state. Religious freedom is essential for the prosperity and stability of any nation. When individuals are free to practice their faith without fear of persecution, society as a whole becomes more harmonious and resilient. This principle is not only a safeguard against tyranny, but also a foundation for genuine unity. The lessons from my persecution of Christians highlight the dangers of conflating religious authority with political power. Such a fusion often leads to abuses of power and infringements on personal liberties. Furthermore, the principles of freedom and democracy are paramount. An effective government must be accountable to its people and respectful of their rights. While my reign was marked by autocratic rule, my later reflections lead me to advocate for a system where power is balanced and checked. Democracy, with its emphasis on participation and representation, offers a path to just governance. It allows for diverse voices to be heard and for policies to reflect the will and needs of the populace. In the centuries that followed my reign, the Roman Empire continued to evolve, influenced by the reforms I had set in motion. The Byzantine Empire, in particular, inherited and expanded upon many of these principles, demonstrating the lasting impact of my efforts. However, the ultimate lesson of my story extends beyond the boundaries of Rome. In the modern world, the values of freedom, democracy, and the separation of church and state are more relevant than ever. Nations that uphold these principles tend to be more stable, prosperous, and just. Freedom allows individuals to pursue their aspirations and contribute meaningfully to society. Democracy ensures that governance is a shared responsibility, with leaders held accountable by the people. Separating church and state guarantees that religious beliefs do not become tools of political oppression, fostering a more inclusive and tolerant society. As I look back on my life and reign, I hope that my story serves as both a testament to the potential for reform and a cautionary tale about the perils of intolerance and unchecked power. The Roman Empire, with all its grandeur and complexity, offers a mirror through which we can examine our own governance and values. In the end, my legacy is a blend of achievements and missteps, a reflection of the human condition itself. It is my hope that future generations will learn from both my successes and my failures, striving to build societies that honor freedom, uphold democratic principles, and maintain a clear boundary between religious and political realms. The journey from Diocles of Dalmatia to Diocletian, Emperor of Rome, was one of profound transformation and discovery. The lessons gleaned from this journey continue to echo through the corridors of history, reminding us that the pursuit of a just and stable society is a timeless endeavor. As the pages of history turn, may these principles guide us towards a future where liberty, justice, and harmony prevail. Thank you for watching. For a deeper dive into my life, stay tuned for a video that highlights the sins of my fellow emperors and me on Jewish and Christian persecution in ancient Rome, coming soon. In it, we focus on the polytheism of the Roman Empire and the often brutal rejection of monotheism, and how that thread led to the blood and death of many martyrs. In the meantime, you may be interested in our videos on the history of anti-Semitism and the Holocaust, as well as our videos on the false premise of race. There is no time for the sins of race, discrimination, and greed in your 21st century. You may also enjoy our other videos on Rome and the Roman Empire, such as this series, My Life as a Roman Emperor, where the voices of the Roman emperors like me come to life and tell you our story, our history, from our point of view. Our Rome in 30 Seconds short series is a great way to learn about Rome in a quick and lively format. To experience history, consider a visit to my palace near my ancestral home of Dalmatia in Split, Croatia, or watch the other great content by other content creators on YouTube. Your modern era is rife with tyrants. Learn more about how Rome dealt with treason in our full video, How the Roman Empire Dealt with Treasonous Emperors. Are you an antiquarian? Consider ancient coin collecting, such as this gold coin emblazoned with my image, struck circa AD 287 to 289. Owning ancient coins is a great hobby and pastime of presidents, popes, and kings, and can help you connect with history like never before. There's nothing like holding a piece of history. Learn more about ancient coin collecting, including grading, and more from NGC Ancients, link in description. The hobby also has the added benefit of being an investment in your modern world. But having been deceased for nearly 1,000 years, I'm not what one would call an expert in that arena. Our channel, known as the Renaissance Spirit, is dedicated to the pursuits of a just, equitable, and humanitarian world. Video topics encompass areas including history, politics, religion, personal development, society, culture, social and environmental justice, and other topics of liberal arts and sciences, including ancient Rome and the Roman Empire, which is a great comparison and contrast of the modern world. Topics perfect for the true modern polymath. The Renaissance ushered in a golden age and the pursuit of knowledge. Knowledge both lost to time and yet to be discovered. It gave birth to the Enlightenment and the Age of Reason. Embracing truth, knowledge, and an understanding and compassion for humanity and our shared history opens up the world to each of us individually and improves all of humanity, affording us the opportunity to be better stewards of the earth and to each other. The Renaissance spirit, more than just a philosophy or style, but a style for living, learning, growing, and thinking. Please subscribe, turn on notifications, and share. If you're looking to explore and experience what life has to offer, I'm sure you'll enjoy the other videos on my channel. Please peruse and let me know in the comments what you get out of them and what other videos you'd like to see. But first, please take the quiz next to see if you're a Renaissance spirit. Live the Renaissance spirit.